Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, my dear brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode of Behind the Wheel. My name is Al-Haj Haidar Al-Qazzaz. I am very honored to have with us a household name in the Shia world, all the way from Michigan, from Dearborn.
Yeah.
From Dearborn, the one and only Nouri Sardar. Assalamu alaikum.
Good to see you.
How are you, Nouri?
Are
you well?
I'm good.
Alhamdulillah, salama first of all.
Allah
Welcome.
Thank you.
You
Thank
seem
you.
excited about the show.
I'm very excited. Let's do this.
Oh my
It'll be
God.
fun.
Do you know what the show's about? Have you got the idea, the gist of it?
No idea. What
Okay.
Driving.
I'm gonna, if part of it is driving,
Okay.
there's a reason that all these GoPros are stuck around your head as well. The idea, my dear Nouri, is to basically have a chat about your life, what you're about, kind of the things you've been through, really to inspire, I would say, for us to learn from you. Inshallah. You seem skeptical. Don't be skeptical. There's a lot we can learn from
me.
Of course.
Ya
of
Allah.
course. Listen, I mean, above anything else, even if there's nothing else you can offer, you have the best thing, which is you're a khadim of the Ahlul Bayt, inshallah.
Let's hope so.
So, yeah, inshallah. So, yeah, I'm really excited to have you on.
Thanks for having
you're
me.
a friend of mine as well.
We are friends, yeah.
So I've got maybe a few little things I can say about you that
Let's
maybe
do it.
other people don't know as well.
You can say whatever you like, bro.
God bless you,
Let's
Habib.
do it.
So yeah, we normally start at the beginning with the majority of our guests, and I'd like to start in the fact that I don't know if many people know this or not, but you are a revert to
I am, yeah.
the Shia faith.
I am, yeah.
So tell us about that. How did it happen?
So I grew up central London, West London,
Yeah.
Westbourne Green,
Right.
call it, Maida Vale area.
Right.
And bougie. Yeah, I mean, for me it's like a ghetto, but
Right.
compared to South London, East London, it's probably nice and bougie. So when I was growing up, when I was 14, I mean, it's a long story, but my best friend, Karbalai, he was a Shia. We grew up together, and around age
Araqi?
Araqi, yeah.
Yeah.
So around age 13, 14, we kind of got more practicing, more religious.
Right.
So as we were getting more religious together, we'd obviously do religious things together, right? So
Right.
I'd end up going to Islamic Center of England for the Karbalai, for example.
Really?
Yep.
Because he would go and you were friends?
Yeah, because we were friends, so like we just kind of do things together. So I still remember I used to go to Islamic Center for the Karbalai. I still remember he had a book in his house about Karbalai.
Right.
I forgot what the book was called. It was like not a picture book, but it was like an illustration book.
Right.
Also, all the details of what happened in Karbalai.
Just in terms of the battle, yani.
Not even before the battle. So
Wow.
it started with, for example, Bani Umayyah
Wow.
and Bani Hashim, and it told the whole story basically. So I read that, and already there was this like kind of spark of interest about the Ahlul Bayt and Shia Islam, but specifically about the Ahlul Bayt, and there was always like kind of like a love growing there.
Right.
And for me, alhamdulillah, like when I see, at least growing up, when I saw something that felt true, I couldn't deny it. It was just like I know a lot of people kind of struggle with truth sometimes,
Yeah.
especially growing up and speaking
Well,
to a lot of people.
especially if it's something that doesn't align with your version of the truth.
Exactly,
That's
yeah.
the tough part, right?
But for me, like I was always like, what's true is true. Like I can't deny it. I was very like,
Where did that come from? That's a
person.
very wise.
I don't know.
It's a wise
honestly,
stance to have at such
I
a
don't
young
know.
age.
I don't want to, big myself up or
Yeah.
identify my positives, but I think I've always been very blessed that, again, like if something's true, if something's real, I can't deny it. It is what it is. Truth is truth. Reality is reality. So for me, growing up and reading that story, I had that inside me, just kind of like brewing. And I remember we went to Muharram 2005,
Right.
2004,
Right.
sorry,
Right.
or even 3. I forgot which year it was. Muharram. I still remember I was a Sunni, he was a Shia. I used to dress in black.
You still used to go to the majalis, but you hadn't really
So I went
accepted
to 2 majalis. I went to Islamic Center of England. I still remember Sheikh Imam Hussein from Dearborn was there.
Right.
And the first musibah I ever heard, he recited the musibah about Abbas alayhi salam.
Wow.
And I still remember him saying, he was like, that musibah we hear all every year when a man falls to the floor, the first thing he does is protect himself with his hands. But Abbas didn't have hands, so he landed straight on his face with the arrow in his eye.
Bit of a weird question.
Yeah.
How did you feel as someone who didn't yet necessarily acknowledge themselves as a Shia when you heard them? I've always wondered that. And how does a non-Shia think, or what does he think about?
So for me, again, I was like, I could see the beauty in it. I was like, this is like it's a very beautiful story. It happened, you know. It's there's something to take from it. It's very sad what happened to these people, because I was experiencing it all firsthand. Dua Kamel, Muhammad Majalis, and then I still remember the next day we went to Haidari as well.
Yes.
And say Mehdi Madarisi was giving a lecture, and I sat in the lecture.
Right.
I still remember it till today. And like for me, it was just like, you know, I could see the beauty in front of me. I could see the reality in front of me. So it was like the Shias and the Sunnis, both are doing their thing.
Yep.
You know, especially at that time, you know, there's a lot of Wahhabi influence when it comes, even now in London,
absolutely,
when it comes to Sunnis. So all the kind of lies about Shias and, you know, them being deceptive and them being this and that, I could see through it because I'd experienced it. I'd been around Shias. I went to Friday prayer, Dar es Salaam, I still remember as a Sunni. So that was always there. But then I still remember that year, I want to say it's 2005. So Muharram at that time was around February time. The following few months, I would go to a local mosque to my house, which was very Wahhabi orientated, Wahhabi Salafi orientated. And I was really falling deeper into that community. So I was actually moving further and further away from Shiism.
Wow.
Yeah. And
a lot going on.
Yeah, bro. And so around this time, what I was also doing, I would go on shiachat.com.
Right.
And there's a really good PDF online.
Yeah, for the new generation, by the way, a big part of our growing up was online chat rooms and debate rooms. And Shia Chat, and MSN was a big part of it as well. Right. So there was a PDF online or a website called a Shiite Encyclopedia. I think it's still around. Right. It just breaks down all the Shia beliefs. So I was seeing all these like Shia beliefs in Sunni books, and for me it was just, you know, night and day. Like you could see it very clearly. It was just that my heart hadn't kind of accepted it yet. My mind had accepted it, but my heart wasn't ready to make the jump. And I still remember reading like Sunni Shia debates. They would debate about, for example, what was the moment, that just like turning moment where you decided, you know what, this is me, this is who I am?
So I still remember it was, I want to say May or June 2005.
Right.
Again, like I was just moving further and further away from Shiism, and even from my friend Carl, I was moving a bit further away as well. And I remember like I was very like, there's a kind of religion, I don't think it's exclusive to Wahhabism and Salafism, having our community as well, but like where you're kind of angry. Yes. You know, like your religion.
I mean, we have some Shias like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're religious from a place of anger, from a place of you're kind of wound up, and that was me. And I always tell people, like, I was like, if I hadn't like made that jump, I think I probably would end up in Syria or something like that. So one day, I still remember it was Tuesday, I think it was. I was just like at home in my flat, and I literally felt my heart open, and I was just like, you know what, like I have to make a decision. I have to do this. I called my friend. I was like, I want to become Shia. How do I do it? He's like, well, you're already Muslim, so you just got to kind of make the decision. Yeah. So we went to Islamic Center for Maghrib, Salat al-Maghrib, prayed as a Shia. Wow. And that was it. And I still remember the next day I went to school, Wednesday, North Westminster Upper School, and I was just different. I was calmer, you know, that anger in me, it was gone. I was quiet.
That's beautiful. You are quite a calm guy now as well. I'd pin you down.
I have my moments.
From what I've seen, I'm sure if we ask family, maybe there's different answers.
I have my moments up and down.
Right.
But yeah, that I would say, like, obviously there's a whole like theological discussion, but from a personality perspective, me being I've always been kind of wound up as a kid, right? And this like was a big factor in pushing that aside. So
you basically then had family, friends, the community you mentioned. I mean, you know, the Pakistani community as well, which is not always an easy community to deal with. So you've come into this as a Shia now.
Yeah,
what were the reactions?
I mean, so you mean from my family?
Well, from family, friends, community. Let's start with family. I mean, it's not an easy thing to. I'm sure you told your parents straight away.
Yeah, they were really upset, man. Yeah, they were really upset. My mom started crying. My dad was like, he gave away his religion. Wow. But we never kind of spoke about it, to be honest with you, in depth. But flash forward, I think after a few years, once they saw that I was different, once they saw that I was, you know, doing things in life, I was reciting poetry and you know, working and stuff like that, and once they saw the effect it had on me, I think it kind of didn't become a thing anymore. So even now, it's not really a thing. You won't really talk about it, but they just kind of accept it. Yeah. I think at the time, like, no one really knew what Shiism was, maybe. Right. But yeah, it's not easy, man. You have to give away what you believe.
How did you win the family over?
Just time. Just took time. Yeah. Again, just by me being different and then being trying to be a good son and trying to be a good person.
Yeah. SubhanAllah, that's one of the things that's like in any scenario that even if you're, alhamdulillah, say your parents are Muslim, but even if you have non-Muslim parents and you become Muslim, the whole idea is for you to be able to treat them in a way that shows what your faith represents, right?
And I still remember Kalam's dad was like, listen, the first thing he told me, and a few people told me, is that you got to make sure you still respect your parents, so you're not good with them. And it wasn't always like that, to be honest, growing up, but like at a certain point, once I matured, I definitely changed there. So I think that was good. Community-wise,
I mean, just before you carry on, Nouri, in terms of your wider, the Pakistani culture is quite strong, and also quite, because you're originally from Pakistan.
Yeah, but the thing is,
it's a contrary belief. Anyone that thinks Nouri is a Khoja, he's not. He's originally from Pakistan.
Who thinks I'm Khoja?
Everyone thinks you're Khoja.
Oh dear.
So you're originally from Pakistan, yeah?
Yeah, originally from.
So the Pakistani culture is quite influential on religion as well.
But this is the thing. So my family is very unique because my grandparents came here in the 60s, right? Okay. My dad and my mom are the youngest of the siblings.
Okay.
So they grew up kind of like us. They grew up speaking English. They grew up very British and very detached from their Pakistani identity.
Okay.
My immediate family, my cousins, stuff, they're all in the West, right? Okay. So I've been to Pakistan a few times when I was young, but we grew up very British, more so than Pakistani, and we weren't really around the community, more so outside our family.
Right. So that wasn't really a big effect. It was just it was managing your parents. And then what about in terms of friends? I remember once you told me, there was like you had a fight in college, or you were attacked for being a Shia or something.
Yeah. I mean, that was just like kids just messing around, retrospectively. But that happened as well when I was young. I grew up, but that was years later. So after I became Shia, what happened was I went to, me and Kalam used to come to Haraka Haidariya at the time. So that's kind of like where I met everyone.
Sayyid Ammar and
those days. We used to go, when Ammar used to give tafsir classes, we used to come there.
Do I know Kalam, by the way? Because I feel like Kalam is a gangster for doing this. And for influencing.
No, you don't. If maybe
is he around?
If you see him, not really. Now and then, I see him now and then. He doesn't really come to
need a link up with Kalam.
Needs a link
up. Shout out to Kalam. Kalam, we love you, Kalam.
Yes, that's my guy.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right there, yeah.
You still keep contact with him?
Now and then, we still speak. Yeah. And then, so after that, I used to go to Islamic Center for the Al-Kamil programs. And that's why I going to Rasul A'zam as well. Right. Where I met most of our community.
Yes. We'll definitely run on to that. So, because actually, there was a period where I don't know if you remember this or not. I saw you in Wembley Park.
You love this story.
It's one of my favourite stories. I saw you in Wembley Park, and I didn't really know you. I just knew you as the guy who is not Iraqi, who... It's funny because people think you're Iraqi now, which we'll talk about. But I knew you as the guy who I used to see walking everywhere. So people don't know this, but Brother Nouri unfortunately can't ride a bike. So he actually lost out a lot of his childhood. Not lost out, but he benefited from walking a lot, let's say. You're happy this is cars and not biking.
I never learned.
By the way, I'm on live, not on live, but on Imam Hussein TV, I'll say as well, I never learned how to ride a bike either.
Are you serious?
Nope.
You never learned?
No one knows that.
You gangster, yes. On, there we go.
Something special about riding that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
we're sick.
My kids can ride. I told my kids how to ride bike.
Like
from YouTube.
My parents tried. They kept trying to get me a bike. I was like, no, I'm okay. I don't want to. I just never learned. And now it's like
my dad didn't even try.
Now it's a bit too late.
It's too late. We'll leave it. We do other stuff, bro. We do other stuff. But I saw you walking once, and you had headphones in, and you saw me.
It was here, right?
It was right. We were literally driving by the spot now, and you said to me, apologies for the outdoor noise, just in case, because there's a
rave.
There's a football match in Wembley Stadium. But yeah, I mean, I saw you in Wembley Park, and you were walking by, and you stopped me, and you knew me kind of by name, but we didn't know each other well.
From Haraka, yeah, I see you around.
Yeah, we didn't know each other well. Haraka, Rasul A'zam, and you said to me, Haidar, do me a favor. And he said, what is this word? And there was you were listening to a lecture. It wasn't even a latmiya.
Was it a lecture? No way.
It was a lecture. And do you know who the lecture was from?
Hadim Darasing, you mean?
No, it was from...
Basim Jari.
No. It was from Sheikh Abdul Rada Ma'ash.
Oh, wow.
Because he was one of the nights, so he was doing a year in...
I remember,
Fatimiyya in RA, right? And so you asked me about this word, and I told you what it is. And I'm like, do you speak Arabic? You're like, I'm learning. And you put your headphones in, and you walked off again. So I think you've always been like really motivated. One of the things that I've realized, and I think for those listening who have reverted to the Shia faith, and for those that know reverts, I don't think our community is great with reverts. I feel like we leave quite a lot to be desired. So you reverting into the Shia world? That must have been tough.
For me, it was just so unique because I reverted so young. I kind of like I'm always like not hesitant, but I don't discuss my reversion story too much because to me I was always Shia. Because I became Shia I was so young. I basically grew up as a Shia, as a Shia Muslim. So for me it was like it wasn't really like that, but I do see it in reverts all the time. Again, like for me because I grew up around the community, I grew up in Rasulullah. I never felt.
Did you ever feel lonely? Did you ever feel like ostracized? Did you ever feel like different?
No, ostracized. I think for me the thing is like I grew up with a lot of social anxiety. Okay. Like for me, I couldn't speak. So even like that day when I spoke to you, I'm sure inside I was like I just didn't know how to speak to people that I didn't know. It was very difficult for me.
Yeah, you were quite awkward.
Very awkward because it was difficult for me to like to speak to people that I didn't know outside my friend circles. Very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Until I started traveling and meeting more people, then I kind of like learned how. Even now, it's still difficult for me, but I kind of.
You would never think so.
Yeah. It's not as bad as it was, but back then it was very difficult. I couldn't speak to anyone that I didn't know. It was very, very difficult. There is kind of that aspect because I'm not very, I want to say outgoing. It's obviously harder to make friends, but despite that, I still managed to make friends. But I will say, because I'm not Iraqi, because I didn't grow up in the community, there's always going to be a gap. Yeah, there's always going to be. It is what it is, you know.
For the brothers and sisters who are at home who are reverts or are thinking of reverting or have reverted and are finding it difficult, what advice would you give?
I would say, you know, the first thing is, I think, because I've met a lot of reverts and I've seen a lot of people even go back, you know, I think the main thing is understand what the places you're reverting from, where you're reverting from. I feel like a lot of, and this is a very generic statement, but just based on what I've seen, obviously there's a theological element, there's a truth element, there's an element of, you know, trying to get close to Allah. Yep. Sometimes people revert, not just to Shia Islam, I'm sure even to Islam as well, from a place of lack.
Right.
They lack something. Right. Therefore, they want something to fill that gap. Right. Yeah. Right. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but the problem is, what exactly are you filling that gap with? Are you filling it with a community you want to be a part of? Because then you'll get disappointed. Are you filling it with people? Are you filling it with affirmation? So you need to be yourself, and this is a lesson to myself as well. You need to make sure that
we've been talking about this on and off for like 10 years. Yeah. Basically, that you can't make decisions based on your expectation of how other people will treat you. You
can't let anything outside yourself validate you. Yeah, that's what it is. You have to be within the four walls of yourself. You have to be comfortable with yourself. That's it. Yeah. So alhamdulillah, I'm very lucky that I never connected Shia Islam with Shia Muslims.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, so when I see, because I worked at Karbalai TV for a long time, so I dealt with a lot of speakers, a lot of scholars. And sometimes you see things that are a bit disappointing. You see things that you don't expect. Yeah.
You were thrown into the deep end of the Shia world very quickly.
Yeah. But alhamdulillah, I always managed to separate the people from the faith. Right. If someone's doing something wrong, however big it is or however small it is, it's not a reflection on the faith itself. It's not a reflection on the teachings of the Ahl Bayt. Right. That is my connection, the Ahl Bayt, and that's it. Beyond that, anyone else is prone to mistakes. Yes. Is prone to flaws, even like myself.
Which again is a very wise view to have.
You have to be like that. Yeah. You have to be like that. You know, you can't attach your religion to people, because then people, they snap. Yeah. They really snap. They do. Because they become religious. They go too far, too deep, too fast. And then they meet people that they look up to, and then they're like, wait a minute, why is he doing riba? Why is he swearing? Why is he doing this? And like, this is not what I expected. And they lose the plot. You know, a lot of folks, they go to Hawza, for example, deep end, Najaf, Karbalai, and they expect it to be some sort of utopia. They expect it to be some sort of, you know, this is heaven for me. Right. And then they go there and they see the culture, they see the hardships, they see things they don't expect. They meet teachers like, you know.
But your point is that if you know, which is, I think, is a fantastic point for all the viewers there, that if you put the role models that you have and the expectation of greatness from the Ahl Bayt, then you'll never be let down.
100%. Yeah,
okay, so yeah, you kind of you hit there. Listening to Latmiya, there was one Latmiya in particular that was your favorite one growing up. We've done some research on you, which is an old school
legendary
Basim Karbalai, who I know was very influential in your life. So we'll listen to this and we'll talk about that as well.
Brings back so many memories, man.
What year was this?
When it came out? I mean, before I heard, I think 2003, 2002, 2001 maybe.
Right.
Old, very old. So for those like non-Arabic speakers, this Latmiya is...
We'll stop. So all the Iraqis and the Arab speakers know
what's going on. Yeah,
but for those that don't, this is a Mullah Basim al-Karbalai Latmiya.
Right, so it was written during Saddam's time.
Right.
Toward the end of his government. It was basically just about, like not being able to visit Najaf, not being able to visit Imam Ali, and longing for that ziyarah.
So I get if you were Iraqi and you were blocked from going to Iraq, that this would, because like Saddam's government, etc. Why does it mean
so for me
much to you?
So for me, I became Shia after Suqut. So Iraq was open, but I still long for ziyarah, crazy.
Right.
So like I used to listen to this all the time and just cry, longing to go to Najaf and longing to see the shrine, which sounds crazy now because of how much we're blessed to go. But back then,
it was different.
I used to watch videos of the shrine and just cry and just really want to go to Najaf and go for ziyarah. And I still remember I bought this MP3 player from Argos at Road.
Right.
And I put a bunch of there was one website, aimislam.com at the time.
Yeah.
It had 10 Latmiyas. And there was a few Basim ones, and this was one of them.
Right.
And I just listened to it on repeat.
This is the repeat one, yeah.
It was just so beautiful, and even I still remember there was a video I bought it from your relative Said Hamid. He had that shop on Edge Road.
Yeah, God bless Said Hamid. If you're listening, we love you as well.
We love you, Said Hamid. He had these VHS tapes of when Basim returned to Iraq the first time.
Yeah. And he played that in the background.
He goes back to the shrine. He reads this.
Oh, he read it there.
Yeah, and everyone's just going crazy because they're back in the shrine. And it's so beautiful. I still remember this. Every time I hear it, it brings back all those memories.
Yeah, Yeah, but Basim was a massive. I mean, I haven't met anyone at that age or anyone since that loved Mullah Basim as much as you did. Still?
Basim, still. Yeah, Basim. I always say Basim's voice. I don't know the man, but his voice is my best friend, without a doubt. That's been with me since I was young.
Does he know you, by the way?
We've met a few times, and I don't think we know each other that.
I mean, his legal team knows you. Based off the YouTube.
He gave me a ring, by the way.
We should explain the YouTube thing. Okay. You had a channel, right?
You had a channel, El Mufid.
Right. You made this yourself.
This is old school. Back in the days, one of the first people to upload constant latmiyas and even du'as and stuff on YouTube.
All Basim stuff.
Mostly Basim
stuff.
And then it got taken down by
his legal team. Caught down. They're like, "What are you doing?"
By Basim's legal team. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So he gave me a ring.
You met him? I haven't. No. I have, but for the purpose of the show. Okay. I think I have.
The ring story?
Yeah. Tell me.
You haven't heard it?
I think I have.
So I remember he came to...
We've traveled. We've spent too many hours in Iraqi hotels, Arba'in, in the morning talking.
He came to recite in Khoi, 2011, if you remember, from Muharram.
Right.
Sajjad for 5 days. And I really wanted him to recite. I was going crazy. So I went to Sayyid Hamid again. I was like, Sayyid, listen, tell Basim, there's a guy, he was Sunni and he became Shia.
Wow, that's like that.
Yeah. And he wants you to recite this with me. I was like, I don't want to meet the guy. I was like, this is it. Just so you can recite it.
Right.
He calls me, he goes, Basim wants to meet you. I'm like, alright. He finished reciting, night 4, whatever it was. I went downstairs, I sat next to him. And he goes, Assalamu alaikum. Reaches into his pocket, takes out a ring, and gives it to me.
Wow.
Yeah, and I still remember the ring. It had on it Allah, Muhammad, Ali, Hassan, Hussein, all the names of the Imams.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you still have it? No.
Yeah.
That's the one that you don't wear, man. You got to frame that and keep it at home.
Man. Yeah, it's so annoying. And I wrote for him twice actually.
Mullah
Basim, please, new ring.
Mullah Aziz, if you're listening to this, هذا خطير رجال chance. Give him a ring, please. Oh, we're gonna crash as well.
And then I wrote for him twice, but they didn't end up using it. One was for that Nasheed Ya Ali Madad.
Yes.
So they were meant to have English for that, but they didn't end up using it. And then there was another one, Qul alayhi salam, where it's like a hadith of Imam Hussein.
Okay.
I wrote some lines for that as well, but again they didn't use it.
He hasn't done English from you.
No. But as in, so again,
inshallah, why not?
I don't know him personally, but there's been some.
Yeah. So subhanallah, it's amazing when you think about how Allah guides people. Obviously, Allah, guides who He wants, how He wants, and Mullah Basim was probably a big inspiration for you.
For the poetry, for sure.
For the poetry,
100%, yeah.
And 100%. that is now,
and that love of the Ahl Bayt, basically.
And that is now who you are. Like you're introduced. The majority of the time I'm ever with you as Nouri Sardar, poet Nouri Sardar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So God bless Mullah Basim. And also just tell us about how did you get into poetry? So you're a poet, yeah? I write stuff sometimes.
You're still a poet.
No, I'm not. I don't really see myself as a poet. But
define a poet. You write poetry. You're a poet.
Cool. Chat GPT. No, I'm joking. So how did you get into poetry?
So I remember, so listening to a lot of Latvians, especially from Basim, I really wanted to write Arabic at the time.
Really?
I wanted to, but I didn't speak Arabic barely at the time. So I was like,
set the bar high. I can't speak it, but I'm going to write it.
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to express my love for the Ahl Bayt. So I remember we had that CYC forum, if you remember.
Yes.
Again, forum. And I was like, let me just start writing in English because I can't write Arabic. Let me just start English and then eventually I'll write Arabic. So I just started sharing poems on CYC. And you know, subhanAllah, there was a lot of like encouragement from community. A lot of people like the poetry.
Yeah.
And slowly I just started writing more and more. Eventually, I met Ali. I started writing for him.
Yeah.
And then people were like, "Hey, listen, you publish books." Started doing that. People
cool.
like, you should stand up and recite. I started doing that, and literally, it just subhanAllah, it just grew and grew until it became a part of me.
It's the service of the Ahlul Bayt. You know, it will keep growing and growing, especially if you nourish it in the right way.
But you'll be surprised. Well, over the years, like you know, I always say privately and obviously publicly, but me, you,
this is recorded,
to all the Imam Hussein TV viewers.
Right.
Me, you, Taha, you know, there's a few of us, alhamdulillah, we're so blessed to have been writing for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Over the years, I see so many people that come in, they jump in, they start writing poetry, and they just disappear after a while.
Yeah.
So we're very lucky to have that tawfiq to just continue all the time, and it's become like a part of us.
Yeah.
You know, like for me, like I have to write poetry. It's not like I can just one day just stop.
Yeah.
You know, it's become a part of me. It's the way I express it's the way I serve Ahl Bayt.
Yeah.
You know. And I'm very lucky that that's been a part of me, and it continues to be a part of me. No matter what happens in life, or no matter what, you know, where I head in life, it's always going to be there.
Did you get into the writing of poetry just as an expression, or did you think, you know, there might be? This is not meant to offend, by the way. Did you think this could be like a career I could focus on, or did you think?
For me, it was just like I had this great love of the Ahl Bayt in me.
Yeah.
And I needed a way to express it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a serial overthinker. Like my mind's like just running around everywhere, past, present, future.
Wow.
Multiverse. Yeah, I'm a nutter. I'm crazy. So it's not just that I want to write. It's that I have to write.
Right.
Because I have to. Whatever's in my heart and my mind, I have to get it out.
SubhanAllah.
You know, I have to. And I'm very lucky that not only do I get to write, but I get to share it as well.
Yeah.
And it gets to impact people as well. You know, it's a big blessing.
So in terms of the poetry, Nouri, obviously, you know, there are a couple of duos that you think about. I mean, I as I mentioned, I write poetry here and there, but I do feel like in terms of English poetry, you know, number one, I consider you a pioneer, and I consider you like you changed the game of English poetry growing up. Whereas when English poetry first started, in my opinion, it was a bit like. It was like, oh, that's English. I'm not going to listen to it, right? You know how it was when you first started writing. So, you know, you think about Arabic, you think about like Jabir and Basim. You think about English, think about Nouri and Ali. Is that like? Did you start writing because, or did you start writing for Ali? I mean, you mentioned it was like how to express your feelings.
Yeah.
Did you think when you wrote, I want someone to recite this, or how did that work?
I mean, until today, bro. Every time I recite any write any qasida, usually to a tune,
right?
I always imagine Basim reciting it. Obviously, he can't recite English.
No way.
Obviously, what I mean, he can't recite English, but I mean, like in terms of.
You never laughed when you thought Basim reciting English.
But when I say him reciting it, what I mean is like I don't mean actually reciting. I mean, like for example, the effort he puts into it.
Okay.
The effort he puts into the tune.
The melody.
The qasida.
Okay.
Like the
way the words,
the emotion.
Okay.
That's what I imagine. Right?
Okay, that makes sense.
So. With the thing is with Ali, like mashallah, it's very difficult to recite English as you know.
Yeah.
And he's someone who can just pick up a qasida and recite it straight away.
Yes.
You know, very easily.
Yes.
You need the right don't say mindset, but your mind needs to be able to register syllables to be able to recite English. There's some rawadid who are amazing, but they can't crack English. They don't get it. It doesn't enter their brain doesn't kind of fathom it.
Yeah.
So Ali's very good at that. So honestly, it was a blessing because he needed someone to write poetry to be at his beck and call, which you know, alhamdulillah.
Mullah Ali.
Yeah, Mullah Ali, we love you.
Yeah, Mullah Ali. What's the least notice you've ever got to write a poem for Mullah Ali?
For half an hour, probably.
Yeah, sounds about right.
This is by the way, this is across the board, by the way.
Yeah, but Mullah Ali loves it.
No, this is across the board.
This is everyone.
It's across the board.
Fine,
Yeah, it's across the board.
Mullah Ali, Brother Noor is
You're
protecting. He's protecting you.
Yeah. So alhamdulillah, and again, a lot of this is tawfiq, bro. A lot of people write poetry, but the poetry doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of people recite, but they don't get opportunities. You know, for whatever reason, Allah decided that Ali gets to recite, and I get to.
Alhamdulillah. Have you had any run-ins?
What do you mean run-ins?
As in, like, you know, like when you think about Jabir and Basim and how close they were, and now they're not, etc. Have you had any moments where you and Mullah Ali have fallen out about stuff?
I don't like. The thing is, like it's so weird to think about that kind of stuff, because for me, it's like we're here to serve the Ahl Bayt.
Yeah.
This is all like, it's not about me and you and him and names and egos. It's all nonsense,
right,
compared to. I'm not saying that from a place of like better than that. I'm just being honest. Like for me, when I look at people, role models that I think about when it comes to khidmah, I think about Qadhi Mandoor, I think about Hamza Zaghir.
Right.
These guys were really pure. They were really selfless in what they did. They didn't think about themselves. They just wrote. And the irony is, when you have that mentality, that's when your work goes far. When you have that sincerity, your work goes far. So I tried to detach even for a long time, like there was a period of time where I didn't put my face anywhere online. I was posting couplets on my Instagram, and people like who started following me then always said, we didn't know what you looked like.
Wow.
Yeah, that time.
I was going to say, is it because,
So for me, I'm always trying to detach my ego from my work. Because
is it hard? Do you ever get put? I mean, listen, because you mentioned something nice really earlier, which is, you first started writing to express your love for the Ahlul Bayt. That then became, people started reciting it. That then became you starting to recite. That then became, recently, I'd probably say over the last 3, 4, 5 years, there's more of a trend that you're heavily involved in the majalis, in the na'i stage, which is a massive tawfiq to be able to do such a thing. But I mean, that's natural. Do you ever get to a position, this is a bit of a weird question to ask somebody, but we know each other quite well, and you're quite transparent. Do you ever get to a position where you think, wow, like, look at what I can do? Is it hard to fight that? Because when you're in a position where you've got a crowd of thousands of people and your words are the ones that kind of govern what the emotional connection they feel with Imam Hussein, is it hard to detach your ego from the khidmah?
Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. For me, no, and I'll tell you why. 2 reasons. Number one, my craft is straight from Allah. Any time He wants, He can give me a writer's block. He can take opportunities away from me very easily. Right. And I've seen that happen to other people as well. So I know the second I get my ego involved, my arrogance involved, Allah will take the gift away from me. And the gift to me is too precious for it to be taken away. I want this gift until I die. That's number one. And number two, as a personality, I can be very self-deprecating sometimes. So I've learned to value myself more over the past year or two, because it's good to be humble, but sometimes you can be humble in the wrong way. It can be like almost like my poetry is not good. I'm not good.
Yeah, I mean, because
you want to believe in yourself.
You need to take pride in what you're doing, especially because it's for the Imam.
Pride in what you're doing. You want to believe in yourself. You want to believe you can go far. That's that work ethic mentality that you have to have.
Yeah.
So because of that personality, I'm not saying I don't have an ego, but when it comes to poetry, I always try and kill it. Right. There's a nice line by Sayyid Halim Madarisi who's like, every time you go up to a site, always renew your attention, understand why you're there, and I always try to do that. And again, I'm reciting. I'm not reciting. I'm reciting poetry. It's objectively, it's a very simple thing. Yeah. And for me, it's not. But I mean, like, in your opinion, but maybe, yeah. But the thing is, for me, it's always like the fact that I get to go to edges of the earth to recite poetry. The fact that people call me and fly me in to recite poetry, that for me is a miracle. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So because it's so crazy, I can't attach myself to it, because there's nothing in me that tells me that I'm here because of me. No community flies in a poet from halfway across the world to recite poetry. It doesn't make sense. That for me is Allah. That's Allah's tawfiq.
Alhamdulillah. Well, listen to probably a fan favorite for a lot of the Nouri and Ali Fadl. Was this your first collab?
The first album we did together, yeah.
This is the first album.
2011.
Let's have a listen to it.
Worlds apart, I search for the road from me to you, O Hussein. What veils and what worlds exist between myself and Hussein?
Do you remember the words?
I don't know the words, yeah.
Worlds apart, I search for the road from me to you, O Hussein. What veils and what worlds exist between myself and Hussein? Can one who the heart has stolen be worlds apart from his servant? Can one who the heart has stolen be worlds apart from his servant? Worlds apart, I search for the
Ali's voice.
What's that?
Ali's voice, mashallah.
Yeah, man. This
nice.
was you know, a lot of the Zuwar I meet in our Ziyarah trips, and a lot of the brothers and sisters that come to Haraka, they often cite this Latmiya as one that they you know really.
You know what's funny? So this, I remember it was on YouTube. It was on my MFE channel. It got taken down.
Right.
And before it got taken down, it had like God knows how many views. And there was also like another version of it on YouTube, which was like Ejmel Latmiya fi Lughat al-Ingliziyya.
Wow.
It's on the Lebanese channel. I think it got taken down as well. But I told someone else recently, I was like, we forget that on our journey, there are people that join us on our journey, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years in, right? So there's a lot of people that haven't actually heard this. There's a lot of people that don't know this exists.
Yeah.
And that for me is the biggest tragedy, because it's like I think it's the most beautiful thing that me and Ali have done together.
Really, you think so?
I think it's my favorite, probably my favorite qasida. One of my favorites. Yeah, there's something so pure about it. There's something so selfless about it, so impactful about it.
What was the inspiration behind the lyrics?
I remember I wanted to write something like Kil Qatarattam.
Okay.
Mal Basim and Jabra, and I don't know where. I listen to it sometimes, and usually all my poetry, but especially this, I'm just like, I don't know where this came from. It's just so. I
mean, I've by the way, for the brothers and sisters, I've seen Nouri write a few times.
Have you?
Yes, but you haven't been aware because it's been on Ziyarah, and you do something very nice, because a lot of the time you sit next to the Imam. Do you know that you do this? I've seen you do it. I said, it must be true unless I'm making it up. By the time I've seen you, you were in Karbalai and you sat next to the Imam, and you kind of like soaked in the feeling of being next to the Imam, and then you started writing, which is, you know, it's a lovely thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
Is there any poetry, a cappella, any lines about Imam Hussein that you could do? You memorize a lot of your poetry as well.
My memory is very bad, you know.
Your memory bad?
Yeah, memory is very bad. Yeah, I can't memorize that. That's
you must have a line or two that you've memorized.
There's just so many that I can't think of one.
You've
the spot.
We're driving in this traffic. We're driving in this traffic, so you got to think of one now.
Oh, there's so
Otherwise,
many.
it's going to be really weird. I'm not going to say anything.
There's so many.
Choose anything. That's
There's
fine.
so many.
Dhikr Ali Ibadah.
Dhikr Ali and Ibadah.
Yeah, but you know how to take out a phone.
I have to, because it's on my Instagram. I put some nice stuff on my Instagram.
You put nice stuff in there? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Allah. So many stuff. Recently, like, whenever I go to the shrine, like, I'll just, like, write a few lines. And
so
just
you do? Them. So why are you looking at me weird when I said that? Everyone thinks I'm lying. I made up the story. I've seen you do it.
I don't remember you seeing it. I don't remember seeing it with a notepad or anything like that.
No, you had a little pad. You had a little pad and you took it out.
This
is a while ago in Arba'in. Yeah. You had a little pad and you were writing. It was a little black book. Yeah. Yeah,
so every time I do Ziyarah recently, I always try to just like write these random couplets that kind of come to me. And recently when I went to Karbalai, I think it was for Laylatul Qadr, or no, in December it must have been, with Haraka actually.
Yeah.
All these lines, it was like, I do not have the words, they haven't been spoken yet. I'm wrapped around your finger. There's nothing of me left. All there is you, and I burn away the rest. How your love weighs down the heart. Oh, what a beautiful test. Very short couplet.
Wow.
But when I say wrapped around your finger, Imam Hussein has no finger. It's just cut off, right? I say there's nothing of me left, because I'm like, I'm done trying to satisfy myself in this life, because it's impossible. You are you. I'm an extension of you. You tell me where to go. You point, go here. You do this. And I've submitted. I've submitted. I've given up. There's no point. There's no point trying, because no matter what you try to do, you're always gonna face, challenges. So I'm like, you know what? You just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Ani khadimik. Because
that's a lovely.
But there's no other solution to life, bro. That's it. What else can you do? You just have to trust Allah. Again, I'm saying it's the extension of Allah.
Of course. Just for
you have to tawakkal on Allah.
Yeah.
And that's it. Khalas. There's no other salvation. Time and time again, you try to do things for yourself, and you get run down.
Of course.
You have to give yourself to His Bayt and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Then, apart from poetry, I know that a big part of you were in London and you've done various jobs, and what, about 3 years ago now you moved to Liverpool?
I moved to Michigan 2022 January.
Yeah. So coming up to 3 years now.
Yeah.
What a nice fact. So tell me about what you do there, because I know like content creation, videography, camera work, that's a big part of who you are now.
Yes, I do freelance video production, just contract work, client to client.
Yeah, you do a lot for Imam Hussein TV as well.
Not a lot, I'd say. Work here and there.
I mean, they give you a lot. You just late in all the work that you do.
Basic
Supposedly, playing Mortal, that's for you. Yeah, that was for you.
That's what you wanted.
That's it.
Time to time. No, they're definitely not my main client.
You were late today
For
this
sure.
morning as well, by the way.
I was late today. I was on American time, so it's like it's like
I'm-
3 a.m. for me right now. So have
the
some
guys and
come with
girls
some
at
slack.
home. I was like to him, you're an hour late. He's like, it's 5:30 US time. It doesn't count. It's like,
I didn't sleep like 4 a.m. by the way. I had
like
3 hours
Saturday.
sleep.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I can't sleep.
Oh wow.
But yeah, so I do contract work, mostly brand films, commercials, sometimes documentaries as well.
Right.
A mix between Islamic work and non-Islamic work.
Nice.
And you know,
How is that balancing the Islamic versus non-Islamic?
That's
Especially
a whole discussion itself. That's a whole
Really?
discussion about that. We can have
there must be things that you can't do, right?
Philosophical discussion. We can have like so for me, like I think it's important, as with any craft that you do. For example, in your career,
Yeah.
you're a finance marketing man, right?
Kind of.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's one of those jobs that you can't
What?
define in 2 words.
Oh,
Let's say, for example,
business development director.
Okay.
There you go.
no one knows that means.
No.
Okay, so let's say, for example, a doctor.
Yeah.
What we taught as Shia, be the best doctor, be
Yes.
the best accountant, be the
Yes.
best this, be the best that. I want to be the best filmmaker,
Okay.
you know, or the best freelance filmmaker in my field, right? So, you know, that doesn't mean sticking to Islamic work only, because you want to have an impact outside your community. And I'm a big believer in this.
Yeah.
You know, I always say, like, I have 2 sides of me: my poetry
Yep.
and my filmmaking.
Yes.
And I kind of like compartmentalize. My poetry, even though I do spoken word and stuff here and there, that's my religious kind of side. Not religious side, but like my filmmaking
That's your khidmah side.
Yeah, my
But then
filmmaking
you haven't
is my contribution.
created-
Is my contribution to the outside.
Do you prefer it like that, to have no crossover between your khidmah and your work?
There will always. So this is something over the years that I've kind of tried to blend together more and more and more. It can be difficult sometimes because, you know, I always have the conversation about religious media, and it's funny what I'm saying TV to talk about this. The idea of religious media, I'll say this briefly. Media is all about challenging the norm. It's all about pushing boundaries, right? That's why, unfortunately, when you look at Hollywood and Netflix and stuff like that, and Western media, there's a lot of, you know, sex and nudity and violence and swearing, because it's all trying to push the boundary, right? So the philosophy of media is to push boundary. The philosophy of preaching religion is to close the boundary.
Nice.
So how do the two mix? That's always the challenge. That's why I always say religious media is so tough, because media is meant to push boundaries, but at the same time you can't push a boundary if you're preaching religion in a very conservative way. This is honestly one example of that. But what is it based on? It's based on carpool karaoke.
Yeah.
Where they sit and they sing.
What's
and
that? Never heard of that.
I never heard of it.
Yeah.
They sit and they sing and they listen to music, and
Behind the Wheel idea came first.
We can't do that, obviously.
No.
So, you know,
We recite poetry.
so that's the kind of, you know,
It makes
fine
sense.
line.
It makes sense.
It's a much deeper conversation, but for me, I'm always like, okay, how do I? Everything I do is an expansion. Is my personality coming out?
Yeah.
My identity, coming out.
Yeah.
My identity is what? Shia Muslim,
Yeah.
servant of Imam Hussein.
Yep.
Also born and raised in West London.
Right.
British.
Right.
Born in Pakistani.
Into media,
Lover
etc.
of film.
Yep.
And art.
Yep.
You know. So how do I bring all that together? How do I please, you know, Sayyid Kazemi from Pakistan, who's following me on Instagram, but also that director or that actor or that activist who's following me on Instagram as well, who's not even Shia? How do I please them both? That's always been my biggest challenge. So I've tried my best over the years to blend my art as much as possible, to try and do it in such a way where it can serve, but also be appreciated as art outside of our circle. And that's a whole discussion in and of itself, which I can speak about.
Yeah, I think you're striking a very nice balance now. So good.
I'm trying. Thank you.
God bless you for the work that you do. Nouri, it's been a phenomenal conversation. I really appreciate your time. So we're coming to an end. Just one thing I want to touch on as well, and I think you also, you know, I wouldn't say a pioneer in this, but you also cut some kind of like societal norms, because you're originally from Pakistan.
Yeah.
But you ended up marrying someone from the community in Dearborn who's originally Lebanese.
Yeah.
MashaAllah, and you have kids now, and you've been married for many years. Was that tough as well? Community-wise, your parents, her parents, maybe there's someone out there who's thinking about marrying into, I don't know, what should we call it, interculture?
Intercultural.
Yeah.
You know, again, I think I'm so specific to my own experience. Like, I can't speak for a Pakistani experience or a Lebanese experience. Like, I'm very open to all cultures.
Right.
So for me, it just wasn't really a challenge.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah, and I mean,
And it's not a depth answer, but it's
well, listen, it is what it is, and also it's tawfiq as well, right? I think
it's qisma, bro.
it is qisma.
Even marriage aside, everything in life is qisma, bro.
Yeah,
Everything in life is qisma. From the work you get, to who you marry, to where you live,
yeah,
to the food you eat,
yes,
to the everything you have in life. It's qisma. And to end off, like I'm really a big believer, especially recently.
yeah,
Everything is due to you, is coming to you.
yes.
Everything that's not, no matter how much you chase after it, you can't get it.
Even the things that are in your mind not good things, are
Exactly.
still qisma that eventually be
Like people always ask me, why did you move to Michigan? And there's a million answers why. But the main reason why is I couldn't shake the feeling that I had to move there. And alhamdulillah, moving there has been a blessing for me, because Allah knew that it was good for me. But I didn't want to admit it to myself.
Right.
So my biggest dua is always Ya Allah, if something's meant for me, if something's not meant for me, don't give it to me. Don't even open the door for me. Don't show me. Don't even show it to me. Don't let me desire it. If it is meant for me, give me an abundance.
Very nice.
Give me a blessing.
Very nice.
If a job is meant for me, give me a good job. If anything from food, if this meal is meant for me, make it a nice meal.
It's a lovely
That's always
adab
what
to
I
have.
say. Yeah.
It's a lovely
That's
dua.
the dua.
lovely dua.
Your goal in life is to be in line with Allah's will, right? And that's what we're always trying to. That's what we're all trying to aspire towards.
Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah, hopefully we get there.
Yeah, definitely. Nouri, last point, just as we're turning into our destination, I've heard that you're really into boxing.
I'm not.
Is that not true? That's it. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I used to box when I was a kid.
You used to box?
Yeah.
No way.
But I actually want to get back into it. There's a place next to my house called Detroit Jiu-Jitsu. And they do everything from boxing to kickboxing to cage fighting.
So for the future of Nouri Sardar, we've got boxing and martial arts to look forward to.
Yeah, maybe.
What else is the plan?
Just trying to do the best that I can, improve my craft, poetry and filmmaking as much as I can, and pray for Allah for the tawfiq for my work to go far. And we're here for a short while, bro. We just got to try our best, and hope that when we die, inshallah, we have a good few chapters.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. To show people.
You've watched the show before, so you know how we end.
Oh, the quick fire round?
We end it for a quick fire round. These are tailored especially for you.
Yeah,
are you ready?
All this stuff. Go on.
First question. What's the best poem you've ever written?
Dhul Fiqar's Tale.
Give us a line from it.
I don't.
You don't remember? Is this your
It's a very long poem, but basically it's about the Dhul Fiqar speaking about itself and its own biography.
Wow.
So I search it on YouTube. It's a very long poem, so it's not like a one-line thing, but it's
Dhul Fiqar's Tale.
Dhul Fiqar's Tale.
Dhul Fiqar's
That's my
Tale.
favorite poem.
I'm going to check that out literally as you leave. Next question. Go for a bike ride or go for a swim?
Can't bike, I can swim well, so I'll swim.
Yes, come on. If you could use a time machine and go to the imamat of any imam, which one would you go to and why? That's just tailored for you, Nouri Sardar.
That's hard, man. That's really hard. I don't know.
You got to choose one.
I want to say Imam Hussein, but that's going to be tough, man.
It's going to be tough, but
those swords, those arrows, inshallah, Imam Hussein.
Yeah,
let's do it. Best of companions.
When there's a time machine, we'll go together. Araqi Kuzi.
Next, the second option is.
I'm going to start again. Araqi Kuzi or Pakistani Nahari.
Pakistani Nahari.
Above Kuzi?
100%. Really? 100%.
That has to be a good Nahari.
No, Iraqi cuisine.
Where's the best Nahari we can eat?
I don't know, but go taste Lahore. Pakistani cuisine.
Better than Iraqi?
Yeah, 100%.
Are you serious?
100%. I'm sorry, Iraqi cuisine.
You're a self-acclaimed Iraqi.
Iraqi cuisine, by the way. You guys, the way you going about bagla b'dihin and dolma, I'm sorry, it's nice, but it's not like wake up at 6 a.m. and go to the guys. It's not. Pakistani food all day, every day.
Fair. Give us a word that rhymes with walrus.
Walrus. Furious.
Fair enough. I googled words that you can't rhyme with. People are choosing walrus. There you go. What about ninth?
Ninth.
Next question. Karbalati.
No. I got
you got nothing. Karbalai latum.
It's got to be polite or something, isn't it?
It has to be. Karbalai latum. Near sounds. Rhyme.com.
Huh?
Near sounds.
Near sounds.
Rhyme.com. Near sounds.
Those ones, yeah.
Yeah. Karbalai latum or Pakistani latum?
Karbalai latum.
More than Pakistani?
Yeah. All day.
What advice would you give to a 16-year-old Nouri Sardar right now?
That's a deep one.
Yeah, that needs a whole hour me and you conversation, but there you go.
Love yourself, believe in yourself. Everything you need is within yourself, so don't look outside yourself to validate anything that you that you think that you think that you are, you think that you need.
Very nice. What is a better place to live? Not just for you, but in general. Dearborn or London?
Depends.
You have to choose them. Cook for
I can answer for me.
What is it?
US all day.
Why? 2 reasons.
2 reasons. Access to the whole country, big deal, number 1.
Right.
And number 2, just a better quality of life.
Okay. What is your favorite hadith and why?
He who knows himself knows his Lord.
Right.
And it's my favorite hadith because you can never know yourself and you can never know your Lord, but your life is consistently a journey in trying to discover yourself.
Very nice.
And thereafter your Lord.
Very nice. Man, عرف نفسه عرف ربه.
Yeah, that's the one.
Love that. Last question, Nouri.
Ya Allah.
What is the best program you've ever done on any Islamic TV channel?
Shia of America.
Shia of America?
Shia of America.
What's
10-part series where I covered the history of the Shia in America over 100 years.
Wow.
I filmed 47 interviews across the whole country.
That's on YouTube?
It's on YouTube. And it starts with people speaking about their grandparents coming, Shia grandparents coming to the
whole
US
generations
in the 1900s. And it tracks the whole story all the way until present day.
Amazing.
That's my favorite.
Amazing. You've just released a poetry book as well?
Yep.
It's called?
Pillars of Light.
Pillars of Light. That is your 5th one?
6th one.
6th?
Yeah.
MashaAllah. So brother said that's available. You can get that on Amazon, I think.
Yeah,
as well,
it's on
right?
Amazon. You can order it very easily.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Nouri, thank you so much, man.
Thank
It's
you,
always
brother.
lovely to
Thank
speak
you.
to you.
Good
It's
to
nice
see
to
you.
speak to you.
Thanks for
Cameras
bringing
on so
me
people can
here.
benefit. No, it's a pleasure.
How do I get home?
I'll show you the directions.
Ya Allah.
God bless you. Thank you so much. Ma'as-salama. Brothers and sisters, thank you so much for joining us once again. Many, many, many thanks to the wonderful Nouri Sardar, the poet, my friend, the videographer. It was a great conversation. Hopefully there's something we can all take away from his wise words, mashallah. Really looking forward to having you join us once again. So stay tuned. Next week we'll have another guest, and keep it, inshallah, with Imam Hussein TV on Behind the Wheel. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.